So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another interview of the Shield on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and tonight joining me on the couch, I have a member from the band Kommand, which is a death metal band from Los Angeles, California. So, I have the guitar player. So, introduce yourself to the people who are watching this.
My name's Ian. I play guitar in Kommand. Thank you for having me on your show and talking with me.
Yeah. So yeah, I actually listened to the LP because uh, offline we were discussing that in the streaming services it says it's an EP, but I'm like I don't know, like Slayer Raining Blood was like almost the same time left as your album, and it's considered an album. So
Yeah,
it's just because it's 6 songs. So you know what you should have done? You should have divided 2 more songs and just have 8 songs, and they would
yeah.
have said it's an LP.
We could have done part one and part two on a
Yeah,
couple of the songs.
yeah, it's like a technicality, but yeah,
And
it's
it's not universal because I've looked up other stuff and have 5 songs and they consider it an album. So I don't know why, but we worked really hard on it. We considered it an LP. We consider
yeah.
it a full length. And Rain and Blood is the perfect length. And if it's around that time frame, that's cool.
Yeah, I think Raining Blood is like 28 or 29 minutes, right?
Yeah, something like that.
And yours 26. So yeah, it's it's almost the same length. So yeah, it's just technicalities that they have somewhat. But yeah, I'm sure you work pretty fucking hard on it. And so Command, I listened to your first LP that
Yeah.
you released back in 2020. Like
Yeah.
when you were working on this follow-up, what did you wanted to do differently from your previous one?
Well, I think, we had kind of carved out the Kommand sound on that LP, and we kind of just wanted to still express that. We're not going to try and change the Kommand sound that much. But I think that, yeah, we just wanted to, like maybe push it a little more in terms of riffs and song structure, but still sounding like Kommand. And then, with this one, in terms of the concepts in the lyrics and the art, it changed a little bit in the sense that it's about a speculative sort of conflict, whereas the records in the past had been about, real historical conflicts like World War II and Soviet conflicts and stuff like that. So that was a bit of a change, but we still wanted to keep the same Kommand sound and have it sound like Kommand.
Okay, so yeah, this one's called Death Age, and I'm gonna show the artwork, which is pretty fucking great artwork. So here's the artwork for the LP for Death Age. I read the name of the person who worked on it, but I can't remember the name right off the top of my head. But yeah, I really like it that it's in black and white. I don't know, it makes it look more metal to me. So what can you tell me about this artwork?
Yeah, so this was done by a guy who's based out of Jakarta, Indonesia. His name's Danu, and our singer Jesse worked with him. Um, Jesse, he really likes art, and he's done all the art for Kommand so far. But he just kind of came into contact with this guy Danu, and they came up with a sort of an idea based on what Jesse's lyrics were about, and so this is kind of what they came up with. I think they wanted to do something that was like, still a death metal record, but not exactly like just like gore based or satanic or whatever, but something a little different, but still has like the kind of like death and decay that death metal, deals with and explores.
If there's not death and decay, it's like not death metal usually. Like
Right. Yeah.
it comes with the territory. But I like that. You can see the minor details. You can see like the skulls in the floor, and it looks apocalyptic. There's like I see like there's some airplanes in the sky, and it looks a little bit like a futuristic city as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
So
definitely like a representation of the world that, Jesse created with this record in the lyrics. And it is an apocalyptic scenario. So yeah, it's kind of like a speculative conflict in the near future. And this is a scene from that,
oh yeah, and the album starts with it starts with Final Virus. So yeah, right off the bat, you get that apocalyptic theme in that song. But it's 26 minutes, but it's I was reading that a lot of like people like it's the most pummeling record of the year so far, and it really is like pummeling from beginning to end. You working on the guitars on this one, when you're working on like brutal death metal, what is like for you the tone that you wanna get from your guitar for this?
I think I gravitate more towards crunch. I don't know if that makes any sense. But yeah, as opposed, I feel like there's like fuzz, there's like kind of like a more shrill sound, and then like crunch is like kind of a blend of the two. I realize it might sound corny, like you could probably find like a line 6 amp where you put it and it just says crunch, but yeah, I think of like I don't know, yeah. We use solid state amps, and so that has a little bit of that more processed distortion. Though we did use tube amps on this record as well, so it was kind of a blend. But live we always use solid state amps. So
no, I'm guessing these songs live, like you prepare for that mosh pit because it's gonna be brutal as hell. So I know that the album was released on March 31st on $20 ping. So far, how has the LP's release been taken so far by the metal community?
you know, I try not to read a ton of reviews, but it seems like mostly positive, and we were able to do have a little write up in Decibel and make it on a playlist at Revolver, which is like really cool for us, and yeah, mostly
I think
people
I
seem
think it's
to
good
be
when
liking it.
I think it's good when like mainstream like Revolver and Decibel like give people to like obviously you're an underground
Sure.
metal band, but it's important to give like a spotlight to underground metal because like sometimes a lot of the best albums of the year are the underground metal bands that less people know, and they should be giving a spotlight. So it's good that you had that. So I want to talk about logos.
Okay.
In death metal, it's in a lot of metal, like logos are everything. And I have here the picture of your logo, which I think is really cool. So here's the logo for the band. Uh, like when you're coming up with logos, like because there's like so many logos that have been done in metal and death metal. This is a cool one because you can actually read the name, but
Yeah.
you still have to look twice.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good way to describe it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that Jesse, our singer, created it, and he just like, I think we wanted something like pretty severe and I think apocalyptic for sure, and like something that would be scrawled on an abandoned tank, kind of cryptic, but like you said, if you look at it more, you can read it.
yeah, because there's some logos that like you look at the logo and you can say, okay, yeah, I know which type of band this is because this is indecipherable. Like I don't know if you've seen that meme where you have like a like branches of trees
Yeah.
together, and you say like, oh, there's a black metal
My
band.
favorite black metal band.
Yeah, there's my favorite
Yeah.
black metal band. So yeah, you finally tell me about like how was it getting on 20 bucks pin?
Mm.
Because they're a great record label, and I think they're a record label that they really have their ear on the underground. How was that experience of getting on that label and working with them?
I agree with you that they have their ear on the underground, and it's like a total honor for us to be included with so many awesome bands. The way it came about was we put out our demos in our first demo, maybe 2017 or 2018, I think. And we, sent it around and sold it online, and somehow Dave, who does 20 bucks spin, heard it, or maybe I sent it to him. Anyway, he wanted to, because they also distribute other stuff that they don't uh, put out. They have a store. So he carried the demo, the first demo or the second demo, or maybe both. And we didn't what we were gonna do with this record, so we reached out to him, and I said we were lucky because we had already had tracks recorded, and I was like, these aren't mixed or anything, but here's 2 tracks with vocals. What do you think? And he said, let's do it. So took it from there, and it's been great.
Awesome. What were the tracks that you sent to him?
I believe it was Final Virus and Chimera Soldiers, which were the first 2 on the record too. So
Awesome. Yeah, yeah. And they're, they start the record really, really well. So yeah, now that it's out, and obviously you are planning some shows, like what's next for are you planning, like, is there a tour in the works for you guys?
So we have a record release show this Friday in Los Angeles,
The 14th.
Friday the 14th.
Great.
Um, and then we're planning to do some weekends and some touring. Nothing is for sure right now, but some probably East Coast in the late summer, early fall, and then West Coast after that.
Where is the show on the 14th? Where are you guys playing?
It's at Genghis Cohen in Los Angeles. It's
Yeah.
a venue in like Hollywood area, I think.
Yeah, when I think of Hollywood and LA, I just remember the Rainbow, the Troubadour, all those things
Sure.
that you used to see in the past. For you, did you grow up in LA?
I didn't. No, I grew up on the East Coast in New Hampshire.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, you grew up
So
differently. So yeah, how's
yeah.
the LA metal scene right now? Like, because I know it's in the 80s it was always like glam metal, but it's been evolving because LA is like there's a mix of so many cultures and music.
It
So
it
how
really is. I mean, there's a great metal scene. A lot of good death metal and black metal and punk too, and a lot of different scenes. You've got it. It's funny because you do have Hollywood and the entertainment industry here, but then you have like all these underground different scenes that have absolutely nothing to do with that, and you know,
Yeah,
it's
I
pretty
think
cool.
it's like everywhere. For example, I'm from Puerto Rico, and
Yeah.
even though we're known for like reggaeton and that type of music, we do have a metal scene here. Uh,
Uh-huh.
so yeah,
Yeah.
it's I think like metal usually everywhere it's pretty underground now, but it's it's a like it goes up and down. So working on when you were working on this LP, uh, what was like for you the hardest song to play, the one that's like, oh my god, this song is gonna break us?
Um, that's a good question. I think that maybe maybe the last one,
The
just
collapsing
because,
properties.
yeah, because it's just kind of it's the most different song structure wise. Um, and there's just like it's not really I think it's one of the more different songs on the record. Um, and just like lots of part changes and weird transitions and stuff. Yeah.
So it was the hardest one to write and to play then.
Yeah, I think because like I felt like with that one we were writing it and we were kind of like going past the point of no return and just kind of like had no compass and we were like, where are we gonna go with this? But I like how it came out, you know.
Yeah,
And
no, I think it's good to challenge yourself because sometimes in death metal, I think some death metal bands are sometimes afraid to experiment because you have like
yeah,
old school, and then you have the melodic death metal, and then you have those bands like the Gothenburg sound or whatever, whatever. Obviously, your band is more rooted in old school like
for
death
sure.
metal. I think of like a lot of that death metal that came out of Florida
Sure, yeah.
in the
Deicide was definitely an influence on this one.
yeah, the late 90s, obviously bands like Def and others. Like
Sure.
for you growing up, what were your like favorite bands growing up?
Like well,
It doesn't
like
have
when
to
I
be
was,
death metal.
yeah, no, I mean it it was like when I was a kid I really liked Nirvana. I still do.
Me too.
And then yeah, they're the best, and then I think I started to gravitate like towards more aggressive music, Metallica, Slayer. And then in high school I was kind of like Cannibal Corpse, Deicide, but I mean, I also was like super into punk and hardcore, and I just liked like anything aggressive, and it wasn't always easy to find out about stuff. There's just so much music, and but I think the early like aggressive bands that I really liked were like Slayer, Metallica, Deicide, Cannibal Corpse, and then the punk and hardcore stuff too, Black Flag, Minor Threat, you know,
Yeah.
the basics. And then like in my late teens, early 20s, I think I started getting more into black metal, like Bathory, Celtic Frost, all that stuff, and that I think that maybe comes through as an influence on Commands. It's like black metal's in the background. That was, I think, like some of the first like extreme metal that I really started to dive more into. But yeah.
Yeah, sometimes in the vocals, and obviously the
Mhm.
artwork, there's like it's very black metal as well
Yeah,
because it's so bleak. So yeah, no,
sure.
I think it's good that growing up you had those different influences that changed you as a guitar player. So now that you have this LP out and you're playing some shows, do you guys have more music on the works, or are you just gonna sit on this one, or are you always working on new music?
I've started writing more riffs. There's no complete songs yet. Um, but yeah, we are gonna do another record, and we'll still be hammering away at the same stone, and yeah, we do have another song that we actually recorded as part of this session that's supposed to be for a split 7-inch with our friends Fratricide. There's another death metal band from California. And we just need to finish that up and see what's going to happen with that.
Yeah, no, that should be interesting. And so you being in LA, have you been to when I went to San Francisco, I had to go to the Amoeba record store because I always love watching those videos of where you have the bands like What's in My Bag. Have you been to the one in LA?
I have, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because the one in San Francisco was pretty cool. I don't know if the one in LA is bigger because I think the videos they do for that series are in LA, but
it's pretty big, yeah.
yeah, it's pretty big. Are you a big
I
record collector?
No, I'm not. I recently started buying a lot more CDs, and but I'm not a big record collector. I mean, I do have records, but yeah,
Yeah, I was doing an interview a few weeks ago with another musician. He was telling me like CDs because in the 90s that's what I bought, CDs. It
yeah,
was
same.
the big thing, and now like I'm buying records, and I had like 600 CDs in my parents' house, and like like I lost all of them, and
I still do.
And yeah, and you think like how much, so much money that was invested in it. But there's YouTube channels now that they're all about CDs. So I think
Yeah,
the CDs might make a comeback again.
they're great. Yeah. And I hate to be a part of a trend, but I think that, I might be. I just have a CD player in my car. It's,
I still
it's
have
not
one
that
in. I still have
yeah.
a CD player in my car as well, but
I
uh,
grew up on them too. I like them more, like holding them. I'm just used to them. Like when I open a CD, it's just like it feels supernatural. And whereas like vinyl, I love vinyl too, but I started buying vinyl later in life. I know, like high school, because I was buying so many punk 7 inches and metal 7 inches, and I would play them at the wrong speed. I didn't know what I was doing.
I have a funny story about that. I bought an album and it was in the 45 speed, and I put it, and I didn't know, and it sounded like so slow, and I called the record store like, this record is broken, like it sounds weird. I'm like, are you playing it in the right way? I'm like, okay, oops.
Yeah,
It was
I've
the,
done that.
yeah, it was the Foo Fighters Wasting Light, and super slow. It actually sounded like the doom metal.
Yeah, I bet it's a sledge record.
Yes, it was hilarious. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with Dave Boy? So, out of those, those 7 inches, like, what is your most like prized possession that you bought, like the Holy Grail?
Oh man, from those days, um, I don't know. I loved like these bands like Death Threat, Charles Bronson, Ruination, His Hero Is Gone, Tragedy. Uh, so those were always getting a lot of plays, like late '90s, early 2000s, kind of crusty, hardcore, power violence stuff.
The crustier, the better.
Yeah, always.
Always. So, yeah, it's been great talking about the Kommand album, and about music in general. Can they still? Are you gonna have for the shows on the 14th? Are you gonna have like? I know you have some vinyl too for this one, right?
Yeah, we'll have it all. We'll have vinyl, CD, tape, pick your poison,
Just
t-shirts, long sleeve.
no 8 track. Would you imagine if that came back, the 8 track?
Yeah, I
I
can
don't think.
imagine. I think it's probably done as a novelty, but
I remember seeing 8 track in my grandparents' house. So yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, I don't think it's very convenient. And I had
What
cassette.
record was it?
Oh my god, I can't remember. But it wasn't a metal record.
Hopefully Kiss.
No, no. My father was a lot into like flamenco music and
Okay.
uh, classical music. So I actually inherited some of his vinyl.
Yeah.
Like I have vinyl from him, like different classical music, different stuff. Really interesting. He really loved music, and I think that's why I remember being a kid, and he actually bought my CDs for me. So
Yeah.
it's even though he didn't like it, he put it on and he's like, "Oh, get me a copy." Like I remember he bought me the In Utero record when it came,
Yeah.
and he said like, "This is." He looked at the cover and was like, "This is beautiful, In Utero." Yes, but
It's
yeah,
cool.
it's
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think
I
it's
love that's one of my favorite records of all time. So
oh, I have it on. I bought it on vinyl. I'll get it like real quick,
yeah.
super quick. So yeah. So here it is.
Nice.
Yeah, I got the 2013 Steve Albini mix. Yeah, and
Cool.
yeah, it sounds. Yeah,
I think I've listened to it online, but yeah.
oh yeah, I got this bad boy because like I love Nevermind, but I think this one is really. I like this because it's more raw. It's
It's
like
my
they
yeah.
they didn't give a fuck. They were like
They didn't
whatever.
give a fuck. I was listening to it last week and I was like, God, this record is so fucking depressing, but in a great way.
Oh yeah, when I listen to this now as an adult, and by the way, this turns 30 this year. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna do like a 30 album anniversary review for it. But yeah, when you listen to it now, you can tell he was depressed because some of the
Oh
lyrics,
yeah.
like it's it's really like in your face, like more punk. But yeah, it's
Yes.
I think
It's like,
no, yeah.
sorry, go ahead. I think the songs on there, like the hard rock punk songs, are the hardest and the most raw, and the melodic but sad songs are like the most in that direction. It's like the most emotional record. And it's like I was just listening to it, I'm like, it's so fucking depressing, but it makes me feel great, because the songs are so great,
Yeah,
but
especially
I don't know.
yeah, when you
Yeah.
listen to All Apologies now, when he's like married, buried, like if you've been married, you could understand.
I have been, but
Oh, me too. So yeah, you know we know the pain now that Kurt was
sure.
referring to on that track. But
Sure.
yeah, I think that's the cool thing about music nowadays. I think it's like it's obviously streaming. It's good to discover new bands, and if people like some shit, you buy it. But I think
Mm-hmm.
it's easier nowadays to discover music, and it's so accessible. People have no excuse saying like, "Oh, I can't find bands." Yes, you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so I'm gonna post the link so people can, if they want to get the record on Bandcamp, or if they want to get it on 20 bucks pins, or if they're on the 14th in California, in Los Angeles, just go to the show and buy some merch, buy some records, so the
Yeah,
underground
please do.
can keep growing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So anything you would like to say to the people, like what to expect from Kommand in the next few months?
Yeah, just look out for the shows. We're gonna do a tour or two tours probably. Listen to the record, buy the record. Um, if you want to follow us on Instagram, it's command.death. And listen to underground death metal and all underground music.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to keep your ear on the underground. So again, I want to thank you for taking time to talk with me about this record. So people, uh, get that Kommand record. It's out now on 20 bucks ping. So listen to some death metal. So until next time, people, this is Hector, the shield doing a couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and good night.